What is up guys, Faded here and welcome back to the channel for another video. Today we're going to be discussing the desperate struggle that it is to be a gamer these days. Broken and overhyped games coming out and it's almost like a torrential rainfall of disappointment. Battlefront seemed to be like the saving grace of this clusterfuck of games that have been released. I mean, Star Wars, who does not love a bit of Star Wars? And anyone who played Battlefront back in the day remembers sinking hours and hours into a game that you just could not put down. Relentlessly addicting, and a variety and taste and so much going on. When Battlefront was announced not too long ago, everyone jumped out of their seat with excitement and was expecting the next iteration of the Battlefront series to be just as good as the last, and if not better. Dreams of epic large-scale battles and galactic battleships fighting throughout space, the massive amounts of forums going nuts and fantasizing over how great this new Star Wars game was going to be. Though it didn't take long for information about the game to slowly trickle out and begin to drown all of our hopes for a successful continuance of the franchise. Though I, like many others, held on. It won't be like Hardline, it won't have a bad launch, this, that, and the other, making up whatever you could in your head to stay positive, despite the enormous amount of negative feedback throughout the interwebs. And then, the day finally came. Early October, our feet finally hit the ground of the frozen tundra, getting our first taste of this new experience. Instead, we awoke to find the game that is not far from a simple reskin of the Battlefield franchise. In the same way that Hardline was a slight adaptation of Battlefield 4, despite claiming and marketing itself to be something entirely different. Battlefront left us all feeling like something was missing. And with that, I want to set a tone of this discussion. It is important to think about how many shitty releases we've had in the past and how these greedy corporate agendas have bred them. Battlefield 4 broken for months after release. Hardline's complete copy of Battlefield 4 with an excuse for a campaign and a lackluster multiplayer. The SimCity DRM disaster a while back, and this is just Origin and EA we're talking about. You can also think about 343's Halo Master Chief Collection, which is still in shambles and soon to be abandoned with the imminent release of Halo 5. Destiny, a game that was hyped for its tremendous amount of content and open world experiences, something truly unique. It fell into our laps like a bag of dog shit, ripped of its storyline and gameplay only to have pieces of it vomited back out on us as DLC, which is essentially forced upon you in its almost pay up or quit mentality. It's becoming the norm these days for games to be released in a state of utter brokenness and patched for months and months after, or big chunks of games actually being stripped away from the actual base game in order to be held back in return for more profit. Hence the all too famous Season Pass system, which is doing the gaming industry a great injustice. So with all that said, I want you to sit back and think about the greed of these mega corporations who are constantly sacrificing quality to the consumer for higher margins on their product. Let's start with Battlefront. Let's talk about what is physically wrong with the game, not the lack of content or anything else, just simply what is wrong with the game's structure or the game's coding. So straight off the bat, when you first played it, you were ready to jump in with your closest friends and kick some ass, only to find that the party system is practically broken. But to join the party and to pick a party system, what the fuck is this shit? I mean really, why can't we have a squad or a small group of people, and when my partner and I are finally able to queue up together, when I use his loadout, I can't even use the ion blaster which is in his loadout. I mean, what's the fucking point? Now, we all saw how there will be no server browser, leaving us to this very much broken down matchmaking system. A system that does not let you choose your favorite server or anything like that, just select your game type and search, and good luck. This is partly due to the fact that all servers are going to be in the hands of EA, and no renting a server or anything like that, only official EA servers, which is in itself going to be a problem. The servers that they chose to use during the beta were not up to date, and the tick rate does not even match those of Battlefield 4 servers. Some people have used the excuse, oh well, they're gonna update it and they're gonna add better servers whenever the game comes out. This is just a beta, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. While that is reasonable and I can understand that, and they have done it before, but why send out a beta test if you are not testing the servers that you're actually going to be used, or at least the tick rate and such that you're actually going to use during the course of the game? Either way you put it, they're going the wrong direction on this one. Now I have to say, and don't get me wrong, this game is beautiful. Playing it in 4K was like fucking eye candy. Every texture pops and the landscape is gorgeous. But where the fuck are the bases? The buildings, the vehicles, where is all of that good stuff? The variations of areas in both levels we had access to being kind of the same everywhere that you went. Everything kind of looked the same, and I think on the Walker level there was only one base area. Everything looks the same everywhere you go. Oh, and you better hope to God or whoever that you get on the Imperial team or your ass is grass. Imperials win 99% of the time, and they just seem so overpowered with the walkers, but even in the drop pod game, Imperials still win most of the time. Though this has a lot to do with the fact that weapons are not fully unlocked, like the game is still missing some weapons, and that will come in the full base game. And also more maps are going to come out that hopefully they will have more variation in bases and things like that, and something that makes combat a little bit more interesting. At the same time, we all hoped that Hardline was going to be a great game. Now there's so much more left to talk about what's actually broken in the game, like the flight system that needs a little bit of work and such, but let's move on to the elephant that is in the room. The enormous lack of content, no space battles, no single player, hardly any customization, and just the sheer lack of freaking content. Now this was just the beta, but I mean really, look back through the menus, there's not much there to see. A class system? No. Just pick from a handful of guns, and also these will probably be the exact same as the next person gun because there's no skins, there's no scopes, there's no customization. Oh, but I can make my character dance like a fucking douchebag if I pay an extra 10 bucks. And co-op, don't even get me started on horde mode. Is this really all they could come up with? Wave style survival, which is boring as fuck, and a cop out for a co-op campaign. I mean really, think about it. How long do you really see yourself playing co-op mode? So co-op is obviously tacked on to appease the complainers of the lack of the story mode, which is in itself robbery at $60 or hey, even $120 for the entire game. So what you have in front of you is a broken down and gutted version of Battlefield, without the customization and with a Star Wars skin thrown over it. Multiplayer only, but with no variance, very bland levels, and a lack of vehicles and a one-sided fight. And finally, a bastardization of the Star Wars Battlefront franchise. So think about it, guys. Think about the experience that you had in the beta. Honestly, I enjoyed it, and at times I had a lot of fun, and it was amazing to feel Star Wars in such a grand scale. But I couldn't help but feel like they were holding back. I don't know if it's laziness or they're intentionally holding back content for us to buy later, which seems like the most plausible thing that EA would do. Now they're already selling us emotes and gun shortcuts in the deluxe edition, which it is so obvious what they're going to do. You can see it, it's right in front of you. Just as they did with Battlefield Hardline and the Battle Pack, they're going to microtransaction the fuck out of this game. Rather than giving us customization options, I'm sure they're going to make us pay for every little change that we make to our character. And now to the bigger picture, into what, for me at least, finally pushed me over the edge. Like so many others, enough is enough. It is time that we stop taking these shitty excuses for games and vote with our dollar. If you are like me, you work damn hard for your money, and these companies are constantly wanting more for less, crippling games that we pay full price for only to have to reinvest again in order to get the full experience, which should have been in the original freaking game that we purchased. It's all right there, it's in front of us, you see it, I see it, and more people are starting to see it. It feels like the gaming industry as a whole has reached a point, an epiphany if you will. A massive shift in the market is occurring, like it's the great awakening of a movement or something. A movement that says we want quality back in our games. We will not accept anything else. But it takes people, vast amounts of people, and their hard-earned money to send a message to these companies that this is the last straw. I know many of you will still buy this game no matter what, simply because it's got Star Wars on it or for whatever reason that you have. I'm only asking you to not pre-order this game. And also, don't buy the season pass until they deliver on something, until they can show you what they're going to put in front of you for you to pay for. Stop giving them money before they have earned it. It only encourages a lack of investment in the quality of their games. Wait until they put something of value in play, and then pay them for what they've earned. Stand up for gaming, and do not pre-order Battlefront. And don't buy the fucking season pass.